Okay guys, Musk here, and we're nearly through the release of the new Ripples of Fate Masters. This time looking at Parker Barrows, the new Outcast Master. And as before, this is just going to be a really general, basic level overview from my part, just covering what I initially think, and I'm sort of hoping some of you more experienced Outcast players will pop some wisdom down in the comment section for us all to read. In terms of background, Mr. Barrows' backstory isn't the most exotic, but there's a kind of mundanity to it that I think fits the concept well. So he apparently had some trouble with his cowardly, evil brother, who stole away their family fortune by making use of a corrupt legal system, and Parker's been butthurt over this ever since he took it to Jeremy Kyle and got booed. I think it's great to have another Wild Western themed crew. It is one of the major themes that I enjoy about Malifaux, even though I play a faction of monster horror creatures. But yeah, I'm glad to see the theme being kept up, and I think it should be present in more factions. So let's get into Parker. So his defense and willpower are great 6s, always a comfortable thing to have on a model you care about. 14 wounds is pretty high, well pretty much the highest it goes. Walk 5 as always is decent, as is a charge of 7 with a 2-inch melee. He's a bandit, which seems to be a new keyword. Don't think I've seen it before. So who knows what synergies that will have, and as always with these Wave 4 Masters, a cache of 4. Weird is treating these new players somewhat rotten, I think. Let's talk abilities. Go through their pockets is card cycling when enemy models die around him. It's not quite as obscene as Summerteeth Jones' ability, but that's pretty nice, given that Outcasts don't tend to struggle when it comes to killing stuff, so it's a nice little thing to help you keep momentum. Limited supplies allows him once per turn to discard an upgrade to get a soul stone. Presumably that's going to be a part of his playstyle where he'll have several upgrades he can cycle through, but at the very least he's going to be able to pop Oathkeeper for free. A Fistful of Scrip allows you to discard up to 4 scheme markers within 4 at the price of a card a scheme marker. Oh, it's not just discard enemy scheme markers, it's replace them with your own. It's a bit short range, but as we'll see, it synergizes quite nicely with one of his attacks. Should have mentioned it earlier, but in terms of survivability, those defense 6 and willpower stats are just so useful for blunting enemy attacks, and that's a lot of wounds to chop through. Without other abilities, still that's not very, that's not going to stop some dedicated punishment. But I seem to recall that you can give your Outcast Master hard to kill, and it looks like his totem, the Good Doctor, is some form of healer. Not to mention the fact this guy is cycling soul stones and potentially with a hodgepodge effigy getting more. I reckon he's going to be pretty hard to put down. To the back of the card we go. His main attack seems to be 6 shooters. It's a good accuracy of 6 with a book built in. Range 12 with the gun symbol, but can also be used in engagement. A modest damage spread, but the attack flip gets plus, so even with that gun symbol he's not going to care too much about cover. The built-in trigger allows him to discard upgrades to up his damage, and whilst that doesn't immediately look like a brilliant trade-off, again I suspect part of the way he plays will be cycling upgrades, and I'm sure there'll be ways to reattach them. Alternatively, the other built-in trigger is Drop It, which forces the model to drop the enemy model to drop an enemy scheme marker, and it's not just within base contact, it can be within 3, which is giving you a bit of scope to not put their marker somewhere that would be useful to them, or put it someplace that would be eventually useful to you, like say within 4 of Parker Barrows. On a mask he gets Hide in Shadow, which is a 3-inch push on success, and from playing against Angel Eyes, I can tell you that's a deceptively good trigger. Just being able to dink out of engagement when you need to, and go do something else it's a bit of a game changer sometimes. Ooh, one other thing to note about the scheme marker dropping is that you can gum up enemy schemes with it, as it's kind of difficult for most people to drop markers within 4 inches of one of their other scheme markers. So if you're trying to disrupt convict labour or line in the sand, that kind of thing, that could be really irritating. Another action I think will be fairly popular is Hands in the Air. An accurate shooting attack against willpower. It's got a short range of 8, and it gives the model a condition which means that it has to discard 2 cards if it wants to take a tactical action, such as walking or charging, focusing, or any of these very useful kind of things that many models have on their cards. Not sure you'd do this 3 times a turn, but you can really upset some models trying to do their job with this. Speaking of tactical actions, you've got the Job's Not Done Yet. Needs an 8, but it's got a range of 18 and allows you to push a friendly model its walk in any direction. That is fantastic in Outcasts, which tend to have, on the whole, rather killy but slow models. And pushing in any direction from 18 inches, that is freaking golden. Get your Scream Runners out of engagement. Get your Flurriers into engagement. Directly counter Lilith's Wicked Vines ability. Pushing is one of the stronger abilities in this game. You can do so much with it, so I'm very impressed by that action. And finally, he's got a 0 action for 5 finger discount, needs a 4. It allows him to discard Soul Stones, which he seems to potentially cycle, or enemy scheme markers, which he generates within 3 inches to attach an upgrade, equal to the Soul Stone cost of things you discarded. It's got to have the restriction Parker Barrows, and you can't have more than 3 upgrades attached at the same time. I think that's what that's saying. And so it looks like you can at least cycle an upgrade a turn, especially as the trigger allows you to, basically gives you Instinctual, which means you can take another 0 action, presumably to be found on the upgrades. So that's pretty nice. I guess the idea is you use this at the start of the activation, get the upgrade, use its second 0 action, and then discard it on your shooting attack to go to min damage 3. I think Outcasts have some pretty good general upgrades, but his new ones, what we know of his new ones, he has limited upgrades, Black Market and Highwayman, both of which give him bulletproof. Again, just that little bit of extra survivability early game, I guess. And they seem to give him bonuses for using 5 finger discount or a fistful of script, which are essentially free abilities. Black Market also seems to make the crew better at taking interact actions, which is going to be great in Outcasts, I think, as they're not generally known as a schemy faction. And Highwayman seems to make them better at attacking, which is what Outcasts already do very well. And it's also another great way of achieving schemes by, or at least denying your opponent by killing them. And as he can swap in these limited upgrades as well as other upgrades, of which I think he's got 7, there's a lot of flexibility and gear changing potential with this master. So in summary, we've got a fairly durable master here, and he's going to need it because he's going to be pretty close to the action by the looks of things. He's got a decent attack. He's not crazy killy, but that's decent. And it's not like he needs to be the big beater of the crew. But his main thing seems to be scheme denial and resource management, which looks like he's going to do very well. And that, the Job's Not Done Yet, I think will be game changing, especially as you can do it to the same model multiple times. Looking at his box set, he did well. I think he's got one of the best sculpts of a good, very good set. I mean, it's a little melodramatic, and his henchman does look like he got dressed in the dark. But not everyone can be a dandy highwayman. Well, those were my thoughts. Let me know yours. Take care.